a $120 polo with a big embroidered logo, a $25 polo with heavier cotton and no logo. The logo costs more than the cloth. We ranked them. 6 work against you. 3 are worth it. Number 1 is Psycho Bunny, the logo tax in its purest form. Number 1. Psycho Bunny. A Psycho Bunny polo retails between $90 and $120. The cloth is honest, 100% Pima cotton, long staple, softer than commodity cotton, smoother to the hand, diamond knit piqué, mother-of-pearl buttons, taped shoulder seams, side vents. The collar is engineered as a non-roll construction. It stands flat without flopping. The shirt is made in Peru. The construction is decent. The problem sits on the chest, embroidered across the left side in a footprint several times larger than the typical brand emblem, sits a 4,000-stitch skull and crossbones bunny. The logo is the entire product. You are paying for one of the loudest emblems in menswear, stitched in dense thread onto otherwise clean cloth. Consider the anti-logo man. He is the buyer who has figured out that real status comes from rejecting the logo display. He looks at a Psycho Bunny polo and sees the inverse of what he wants. Good cotton, loud logo, you are buying the bunny, not the shirt. The receipt should be paying for Pima cotton at $90. Instead, it pays for the embroidery thread and the marketing behind it. Strip the bunny off the chest and you have a clean $90 Pima polo that nobody would pay $90 for without the emblem. That is the definition of a logo tax. The cloth is the alibi. The bunny is the product. Pima cotton like this sells, logo-free, in the $30 to $40 range from honest basics brands. The other $50 to $80 is the bunny. The next brand has the heritage. Psycho Bunny does not pretend to, and it sold that heritage off years ago. Number 2. Lacoste. In 1933, René Lacoste, the French tennis champion known as the Crocodile, designed the modern piqué polo with shirt manufacturer André Gillier. The shirt replaced the stiff long-sleeve tennis shirts of the era with a flexible petite piqué cotton knit that breathed in the heat. Lacoste was the first brand in the world to put a logo on the outside of clothing. The small embroidered crocodile on the chest is the original brand emblem in menswear, period. This is foundational history. The polo as we know it begins with Lacoste in 1933. Today, the brand is owned by menswear. That is the Geneva-based family group that has held Lacoste since 2012, alongside Gant and Aigle inside the MF Brands portfolio. The classic L.12.12 piqué shirt carries the original 1933 model number, 1212. The shirt itself moved offshore decades ago. The brand does sell a separate made-in-France premium tier for buyers who want the original origin back. But the classic L.12.12 most shoppers reach for is not that shirt. It is the offshore one at the heritage price. The documented decline is consistent across owner reviews. Thinner piqué. Colors fade after fewer wash cycles than the brand built its name on. The shirt loses shape. The collar, once the polo collar all other polos copied, frays at the band. List price runs around $110. The shirt is frequently discounted to $44. The discount is the brand telling you what the cloth is worth. There is history here the brand would rather you forget. For decades, the Lacoste name in America was licensed to Izod, and the crocodile became a mall rack staple. The brand spent years climbing back from that dilution. The cloth never fully recovered. The brand that invented the polo now sells one of the weakest versions of it. At a heritage price, the cloth no longer earns. The next brand built an American empire on a shirt that has lost its collar roll. Number 3. Ralph Lauren Polo. The Polo Ralph Lauren shirt has been an American style standard since 1972. Acknowledge the legacy, but understand what the legacy is. Ralph Lauren did not invent the polo shirt. Lacoste did in 1933. Lauren did not play polo either. He named his brand after the sport because the word carried aristocratic prestige, and he stitched a pony onto the chest. The shirt is a marketing achievement built on borrowed imagery. That is not a sin. It built an empire, but it means the pony was always the product. The classic mesh polo on the rack today is still 100% cotton piqué. The brand has not blended the fabric. It has not gone synthetic. The cloth itself is real, and that matters. It is the reason this is a critique and not a condemnation. The critique sits on two markers. Marker 1, the collar. Documented owner complaints across the last several years describe the same problem in identical language. The collars no longer roll over as they did. The structured stand and fall the classic polo collar built its reputation on has slipped. The cloth at the collar lays flatter against the neck. It curls at the points after fewer washes. Marker 2, the pony. The buyer pays $85 to $110 for a classic mesh. A meaningful slice of that is the embroidered horse on the chest. The same 100% cotton piqué sells for less than half the price under brands that do not stitch a pony onto it. You are paying a logo premium on honest cotton. The polo cut runs in multiple fits. The classic fit sits fuller with a lower armhole. The custom slim sits closer. Both share the same collar issue and the same pony tax. The cotton is still cotton. The collar that made the shirt is not the collar that ships today. The next brand makes the cleanest case for reading the country before the logo. Number 4, Fred Perry. In 1952, the Wimbledon champion Fred Perry designed a piqué tennis polo. It carried a clean laurel wreath logo and a signature twin-tipping band running the collar and cuff. The original is called the M12. It is still made in Leicester, England, by the same independent contractors who have built it for decades. The 544 twin-tipping pattern is draw-threaded into the collar and cuff by hand. That hand finish is the detail the offshore version cannot replicate at volume. The piqué on the M12 is heavier, coarser, and closer to the 1952 original cloth than any other Fred Perry shirt in the catalog. The M12 retails roughly 120 to 150 pounds in the UK, depending on color. The shirt is the real one. The decline is the M3600. The M3600 carries the same laurel wreath, the same twin tipping, the same shape. But it is made offshore, primarily in China. The piqué is knitted lighter and looser to hit a lower cost. The collar tipping is machine set, not draw-threaded by hand. The shirt shrinks meaningfully after the first wash, and the looser knit pills where the heavier England cloth would not. Quality has trended down across recent years while the price has trended up. The customer reaching for the green Fred Perry wreath on a mainline rack cannot tell the M12 from the M3600. The logo is identical on both. The wreath masks the gap between Leicester cotton and a Chinese contract knit. The England M12 is the shirt. The mainline is the markup wearing the same badge. The next brand never had a heritage shirt to decline. Number 5. Hugo Boss. A Hugo Boss polo on the mainline rack retails between roughly $110 and $150 in 2026. The mainline construction is documented as cotton blend or cotton elastane piqué. 3 to 5% elastane spun into the yarn for stretch. The blend changes the wear curve. Cotton elastane piqué loses shape faster than pure cotton because the elastane fibers fatigue and stretch slack with repeated wash and wear. The shirt looks crisp on the rack. After 15 to 20 wash cycles, the hem starts to wave. The placket begins to lose alignment. The ribbed collar holds shape better than the cheaper mall brands, but the body softens unevenly. The synthetic fibers and the cotton settle at different rates, and the shirt loses its line before its color. That is the elastane tax, paid slowly, wash after wash. The logo is embroidered or printed Boss lettering on the chest. It carries the same logo tax math as the brands above. You pay a premium price for a blended knit and a name, when pure cotton polos at the same price hold their shape years longer. Hugo Boss does sell a separate mercerized Italian cotton tier above $200. Pure cotton, the construction the brand is genuinely capable of. But the mainline polo most buyers pick up is not that shirt. The customer paying $130 at the volume tier pays for the logo and the blend. He does not get the cloth Hugo Boss can deliver one tier up. The next brand wears its preppy logo without pretending the cloth is the point. Number 6. Vineyard Vines. What is inside a Vineyard Vines Sankaty Performance Polo? The flagship Sankaty line is the one the brand markets hardest and sells in the highest volume. It is 92% polyester and 8% spandex. Not cotton, not piqué. a synthetic knit with a stretch component finished with a moisture-wicking tech treatment and stamped with the embroidered whale on the chest. Polyester does not breathe like cotton. It traps heat and holds odor in a way a Sea Island knit never will. The performance label sells the synthetic as an upgrade. On a hot day, the wearer learns otherwise. The Sankati is the polyester version of the polo idea, sold at a preppy premium because of the whale. To be fair, the brand does sell classic cotton polos alongside it. 100% cotton, garment washed for softness, the proper preppy reference. The problem is that both lines carry the same whale logo at similar prices. The whale tells you nothing about the fiber. The customer reading the whale cannot read the fiber from the rack. Vineyard Vine's pricing runs between approximately $85 and $125, depending on line and configuration. The brand's identity is the whale. The whale is sewn onto cotton on some shirts and onto polyester on others, at similar price tiers. The buyer paying $98 for a shirt the photograph calls a classic preppy polo has to read the label. Only the fiber content tells him whether he bought cotton or a synthetic knit. The logo will not. The whale is the same on both. The cloth is not, but the logo is not the quality. 3 brands put the cloth first and the logo nowhere. First, Sunspel. The Sunspel Riviera Polo is the shirt Daniel Craig wore as James Bond in Casino Royale. That is the proof of the whole thesis. One of the most recognized casual looks in modern film carries no logo at all. The Riviera was invented in 1955 by Peter Hill, the great-grandson of the founder. He came back from the heat of the French Riviera unhappy with the heavy knit shirts of the day. He engineered a lightweight, breathable Supima cotton mesh, a warp knit fabric with an open, dry handle that stays cool. Supima is extra-long staple American cotton, traceable to its Californian farm of origin. The standard Riviera in that original mesh runs around 140 pounds, roughly $180. For the price of a logo tax polo, you get the actual Bond shirt, honest English design, no emblem on the chest. Sunspel was founded in 1860 by Thomas Arthur Hill and still controls its construction to English specification. The collar is fine-gauge jersey that stands and falls cleanly. There is no embroidered crocodile, no pony, no whale, no bunny. The shirt is the cloth. For the buyer who wants the absolute ceiling, Sunspel makes a separate Sea Island version of the same Riviera. It runs around 325 pounds, $425. Sea Island is the rarest commercially traded cotton on Earth. The fiber runs nearly double the length of commodity upland cotton, smoother and resistant to pilling across years rather than washes. Same silhouette, no logo. Every extra dollar is in the fiber, not the chest. That is the tell. When a shirt has nothing on the outside, the entire price is the cloth. The next brand is older than Sunspel by 58 years and still makes its shirts in the same factory it opened in 1784. Second, John Smedley. In 1784, John Smedley and Peter Nightingale opened a spinning mill at Lea Bridge in Derbyshire, England. Peter Nightingale came from the same Derbyshire family that would later produce Florence Nightingale. The mill they built is still running. When George Washington took office 5 years later, the looms at Lea Bridge were already turning. Leah Mills, Matlock, Derbyshire, the oldest continuously operating manufacturing knitwear factory in the world, now in its 242nd year of operation. The current Smedley Adrian Polo is knitted on 30-gauge machines. Most commercial polos use 12 to 18-gauge knitting. 30-gauge means tighter, denser stitching with a finer hand and a longer wearing surface. The fiber is 100% Sea Island cotton on the premium line. The shirt is fully fashioned. That means it is knitted to shape rather than cut from a flat panel of cloth. Knitting to shape preserves the cotton fiber at every seam. The shirt does not unravel or distort where a cut panel would. Pricing runs roughly 170 to 200 pounds in the UK. Call it 240 to 270 US dollars. Smedley held royal warrants from Queen Elizabeth II for decades. King Charles III granted the brand a new royal warrant on the 7th of May, 2024, for the manufacture of fine knitwear. The shirt is made in England, in the factory that has made knitwear continuously since George Washington took office. There is no external logo. The label inside reads John Smedley. The customer holding the shirt feels the difference at the first wear. The brand earned the position the slow way. The current product still delivers it. The final pick on the list is the heritage exception inside one of the brands on the stop side. Third, Fred Perry M12, made in England. The Fred Perry M12 is the same shirt René Lacoste's competition wore on the Wimbledon grass courts of the 1950s. Designed by Fred Perry himself in 1952. Made in Leicester, England, the original factory specification has not moved offshore. 544 twin tipping on collar and cuff, draw threaded through the rib by hand. Heavier, coarser piqué than the modern M3600. The cotton is honest. The construction is the one the shirt was famous for. This is the same shirt the mods, the skinheads, and the British working class wore as a uniform for 60 years, not because it carried a logo, because it lasted. A man could buy one, wear it weekly, and hand it down still holding its shape. The price runs roughly 120 to 150 pounds in the UK. Call it 150 to 190 US dollars at full retail. The same laurel wreath as the offshore mainline, but on a shirt that earns it. The M12 is the gateway on the trust side, and it lives inside one of the brands on the stop side. The customer who reads the country of make on the label, not just the logo on the chest, gets a real heritage polo. He gets it at a price below the Sea Island tier. The lesson is the whole video in one shirt. This is the test. Read the country, read the model number, read the cloth before the wreath. Anyone watching can start with the M12 tonight. 9 brands, 5 markers. Piqué weight, substantial cotton that holds shape, not thin. Knit that curls. Cotton grade, long staple Sea Island, Pima, Supima, not commodity cotton. Collar, the construction that stands without flopping after the first wash. Logo, the premium you pay for the emblem instead of the cloth. Origin, the country paired with the spec, never stand alone. You are the man who reads the fabric, not the logo. Our breakdown on designer polo brands robbing you blind is linked below at 170,000 views. And the men's clothing goldmines video sits at 655,000. Both are at the top of this channel. Subscribe. This channel follows the cloth, not the logo.